Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to be doing chapter 5 with you this morning, which is going to have to be broken up into 4 different videos, and I apologize for that, but the chapter is super important and it's super lengthy. So it's healthy hormones, healthy you, and they focus on 4 different hormones: insulin, which is the one we're going to do today, and then leptin, glucagon, and cortisol. So, insulin. First, the testimonial was about a lady who was diabetic, type 2, overweight, heart issues, high cholesterol levels. Several things were wrong with her from what I remember. And she went through the whole 30 program, 30 days. In 30 days, she lost 30 pounds, which I'm guessing she was probably pretty overweight. And usually the more overweight you are, the quicker the weight comes off. And then you start to, kind of plateau or whatnot. But 30 pounds in 30 days is crazy good, I think, anyway. She was able to get off of her medication completely, her diabetes medication. Sorry, my nose itches. And then also her lab values for her cholesterol levels decreased dramatically. So if someone is seeing those results in a month's time, what's stopping any of us? Like, I don't get it. I understand it's hard. I mean, the weight didn't get on there and the negative effects didn't get on there, overnight. So it's not going to change overnight. It's going to take work. It's going to take some time. It's going to take motivation. It's going to take willpower. It's going to take support. So support-wise, I know that I'm not necessarily next door to you, but if you need support, I will be a support system for you. I'm doing this to help people because I truly believe, and I see it as a nurse, I see it every day, the uneducated people. I mean, and it's not people's fault. I mean, in doctors' offices, they're not being properly educated, I don't think. Probably not able to because of the time, restraint with doctors' offices being super packed and stuff nowadays. And people are afraid to appear dumb. They don't want to ask questions. They feel like they'll be judged for being dumb or whatever. That's not what I think any healthcare professional thinks. And you should ask questions at your doctor's offices. So I'm hoping to fill some gaps here and help you all understand, or at least the people that are diabetics or pre-diabetics or overweight or have a family history of diabetes. However, with the whole conversation of diabetic history, if it's food related, usually, sometimes yes, you do have a genetic predisposal, I suppose, and some diabetes is more severe than others. But if your doctor tells you that through diet and exercise, you may be able to reverse your diabetes, then how do we know that health history is what is causing you to have it? I don't think that's right. I think first of all, we probably don't know exactly the diet from grandma, grandpa, mom, and dad 24/7. All we know is our current state. How are we eating? If grandma and grandpa ate like crap, that's probably why they have diabetes, right? So I don't like the whole health history thing. I like to just focus on yourself and make the change yourself through diet, mainly 80% diet, 20% exercise. A lot of times people that are already diabetics, they don't do much physical activity because 1, they're overweight, 2, they've got neuropathy in their feet. They're afraid to injure themselves. You get a diabetic with an ulcer on their foot, it's very hard to heal, and sometimes you don't even know it's there because you can't feel it. And then you end up with a more bigger issue, end up with, a bad infection, sepsis, and sometimes people die or they lose their limb because of that. And a big reason why people with a high sugar state in their blood, they're more susceptible to infection because infection loves sugar. It feeds off of it. So that's another little tidbit, you know, the more higher glucose state you have, the more likely you are in risk for infection. So I'm kind of getting off on a little soapbox here, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to say those things because I think people are just misinformed and uneducated, and you just got to kind of take it upon yourself to try to, you know, educate yourself and take the work and do the work and get the weight off. I mean, the weight is really a big factor in diabetes, and I'll explain to you why and how here in just a few minutes. So insulin, I'll get off my soapbox, I'm sorry. Okay, hormones in general are they're there for balance, to keep everything in equilibrium. Whenever we eat foods, things kind of get teeter-tottery. So then our hormones are there to kind of signal and release to balance everything kind of back out based off of what the foods we've taken in. It's responsible for the availability of our storages, our energy storages, how they're stored, and things like that. But insulin is a master hormone that is released by our pancreas, and it is responsible mainly for sugar control in the blood, right? And most people know that. But it's also responsible for cell regrowth and repair. It's responsible for reproductive function and also energy storage, like I said. So insulin is released whenever we eat, regardless. However, it takes more insulin to be released to manage the intake of carbs. So carbohydrates is really where insulin is needed, not necessarily your fats and not necessarily your protein. And the reason that is because as soon as you eat carbs, the non-nutrient carbs, what do when they're consumed? They turn straight to sugar in your bloodstream, straight to sugar. So when that happens, our pancreas is signaled, and it's like, oh, Joey is, you know, eating 5 rolls of Texas Roadhouse. I better release some insulin. And once that insulin's released, it signals to the cells to absorb the glucose in the bloodstream. That way the bloodstream is getting rid of that glucose, and the healthy range, which usually is like what, 70 to 110 or 120. It's usually a healthy glucose range. It signals those cells to pull out the amount of sugar that it needs to get back to that healthy range. So then the cells, what they do once they take that sugar from the bloodstream, they either use that sugar for energy or it's stored. And glycogen storage is in our liver and our muscles. So our liver is able to, and you got to think of both of these as tanks, all right? And with tanks, they can fill up, and there can be a maximum amount to the brim. Like you get to a point to where you can't put any more in there. So just remember that, all right? So liver, it can actually take that glucose in, okay? And then it can actually release it back into the bloodstream whenever it's needed for energy, all right? The muscles don't do that. They take it in, they fill up their tank if that's the case, and it stays in the muscles until it is used. And it takes high intense activity to get rid of that. Carbs are very easy to fill up on, but super, super difficult to burn off. Back to the whole tank thing that I was telling you about. The liver's a tank and your muscles are a tank. This is where it gets kind of not frustrating, but really important for people to understand. Your glycogen storage in your liver and your muscles, if those tanks fill up to where they're so full that they can't take any more in, and they put their no vacancy sign up and they're saying, dude, you need to either burn off something or you need to stop taking some carbs in. What's going to happen if you don't stop taking carbs in at that time when the liver and the muscles are full? That sugar is no longer used or can be used for energy at that time because you're so full in your tanks, right? So that glucose is converted into saturated fat and triglycerides. So most people think that, oh, I can't eat egg yolks because they're high in cholesterol. Wrong. Eggs are not your problem. Bacon's probably not your problem either. Your problem is probably your prepackaged foods, your pastas, your cupcakes, your chips, all your sugary stuff. Everything that's a carb or a sugar, that's why your cholesterol's high. It's probably not because you're eating healthy fats, because healthy fats are actually needed. We talked about this in another video. Healthy fats are required to be able to even absorb the nutrients to maintain a chronically healthy state. So just get that out of your mind, that cholesterol is managed through lowering your fat intake. That's not it. Carbs is what's causing your issue. So whenever your tanks are full and your glucose is turning into saturated fat and triglycerides, all that's doing is adding to your fat stores, which are not being burned off because you're already full in your glucose tanks. And glucose is burnt first. You can't burn fat over sugar. Sugar is burned first. And if you're full on sugar, you're just going to keep accumulating fat. You see what I'm saying? So it's not it's not the fat that you're eating that's causing you the problems. The problem is the carbs that you're eating that are causing you the problems, because they eventually convert into fat, which is what rises and increases those cholesterol levels. That's why this chapter is so important, because people are so misinformed with types of foods they should be eating for certain diseases and issues that they're having. So carbs is your issue on really everything. So a little note also before I quit here, 2 things. With the pileup of the sugar and the increase in triglycerides for the next couple chapters or the next couple videos, that the blood pushes another hormone, the leptin, out of balance. So like I said, whenever one thing happens, it's just a domino effect. Unless you, let's say a fairly healthy person is diagnosed with diabetes. Okay, and if they don't take that under control and they don't lose weight and they continue the road that they're on, they will eventually end up with heart disease, probably high cholesterol if they already don't have it, just kidney issues, liver issues, pancreas issues, eye issues. You've got to stop somewhere or it's going to kill you. It's going to kill you. I mean, I've taken care of tons of people that have been in DKA, which is diabetic ketoacidosis, or HHNK, which is hyperosmolar hyperglycemic non-ketoacidosis. They're both a very high glycemic state, which ends up in a coma. And then that earns you a stay at an ICU. So, I mean, you gotta do it. You gotta do something here for yourself. And it's really starting with decreasing your carb intake. As simple as it is. And if you're just now watching these videos, then I can send you the list of foods that you should be consuming. That way it's easy for you. You buy those foods off that list. You eat as much as you want. You don't count. You don't measure. All you're doing is not eating certain foods. And if it's not in that list, don't eat it. All right. please, 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 if you have questions or you need support or, you know, whatever it is, if you need some clarification, I am more than happy to, you know, answer any questions. And if I don't know the answer, I'll find it. All right. So reach out to me. I hope this made sense. And I hope that you got something from it, because diabetes is a very serious issue in society today. Lots of people have it. Lots of people battle with it every day. And the sad thing is that it's not like cancer. It's curable. You can probably cure yourself of it if you just do what it takes. And if you're uneducated, get educated. This is me trying to help you get educated. All right. So I hope you guys can take something from this, and I hope it motivates you to just be a better you. And like I said, reach out to me if you need help. And please share this with people, especially people with diabetes. I mean, this is seriously important stuff. So best of luck, well wishes, God bless.